Hello all, it's your girl Tiffany, Madam Luscious Black Beauty, your poetic psychic Pisces, High Priestess, aka the light that shines like a diamond. Also known as your modern day nun, one whom isn't within a coven, a convent, or a covenant. I do thank you all for listening and for watching on tonight. If you'll be so kind to please like, share, and subscribe, it will be greatly, greatly appreciated. This is going to be a general reading. This is actually going to be one of my missing mysteries, okay? This is for two persons, okay? Because they kind of went missing. Well, them going missing is like connected and everything. So this is going to be two missing mysteries in one. Okay, guys? So, thank you all for listening. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe here, okay? So I'm going to briefly go through a bit of information with you all. I have everything on my other device, so I have to pull this up here for you all to see. Okay, so what made me do this is I ended up watching something. I actually was supposed to watch the show a while ago, like when it started, and I just didn't get around to doing so, okay? But I ended up watching it like last night, and I'm like, nope, something is wrong. I'm gonna look into this, okay? So, this situation happened in Naples, Florida, okay? And it concerns the show is called, actually, because I believe it's still airing, it's called Never Seen Again. So it's about missing persons who have gone missing. And the first two episodes on the show, it was featuring Tyler Perry, who got really active and involved about one of the first victims that they covered on the show, Never Seen Again, okay, which was Terrance Williams, okay? And just so happened while, looking into the situation and, researching the case and everything that went on leading up to and everything, they got another connection to something else, which was Felipe Santos, okay? Now they both went missing. They seemingly vanished into thin air, okay? But they were last seen with the same person, okay? Which is how their cases got connected in the first place, okay? Which happened to be this police officer that they were last seen with, okay? And these men haven't been seen or heard from since, okay? So here they are. Hopefully, can y'all see that? Hopefully y'all can see that kind of well here, okay? So, the African-American man is Terrance Williams, and Felipe Santos is Mexican, okay? And so they both went missing kind of close together, okay? So I'm going to go over some information and give y'all a little bit of the backstory. I just like to... this is a lot of work, guys. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do all of this tonight. I literally can go through it and I can tell you what happened. Just straight up. Okay? I can tell you what happened. But I'm going to go through a little bit by little bit. Okay? Of what all this is. Because it's a lot of work. I had to do a lot and break all this stuff down. Okay? So, I'm going to start. Y'all excuse me. I was snacking on like pretzels, okay? So, okay. Let me get serious, okay? Now, there's a lot of different things. Like, red flags is all over the place, okay? When dealing with the situation, okay? So, we're going to start with Terrance Williams, okay? So, like I said, he is African-American. He was 27 years old when he went missing, okay? Now, he's said to have been born on January 17th of 1976. He was last seen between January 9th or 10th of 2004, okay? Um, I wrote that down because what piqued my interest about that, which I was kind of confused about, is because his mother, Terrance Williams' mother, Miss Marcia, says that she gave her son a ride one day. I believe maybe she was taking him to work, or she was giving him a ride one day. And when she went to drop him off, she said that, she asked him for some money for the gas or whatever. He reached in his pocket. He gave her some money. He said, okay, I'll see you later, mom. Okay. She said that was the last time she seen him. Now, then it flips to a roommate that he had that, they grew up together. They were really close friends. They were roommates. Okay. So his roommates say the last time he seen him, Terrance was going out to a gathering, a party, or something like that, or whatever, and wanted his friend, which is his roommate, to go with him. And his roommate just kind of told him, hey, no, man, I can't go. I have my kids, can't go, or whatever. So Terrance ended up going to this party alone. Now, what the reason why this interests me is because the friend slash roommate says that Terrance left driving in this vehicle, yet he didn't have a license and he didn't have registration or whatever for the vehicle or whatever, but he was driving this vehicle nonetheless. But that kind of confused me, so I don't know if he got the vehicle later or what happened, like the time lapse or whatever, because we're talking about right before he went missing. Okay. The mother says if the mother gave him a ride, I was trying to figure out why did he need a ride from her if he had that vehicle, but whatever. But that was their different accounts. The mother said the last time she seen him, she gave him a ride. She dropped him off. I believe she said at work. He gave her some gas money, said, I'll see you later. She took off. Okay. The roommate says last time he seen him was at home. He was going out, going to a party that his co-workers from the Pizza Hut was having, and but he couldn't go with them. So Terrance went ahead and went along to the party or whatever. But that was the last time he seen him. Okay. Before they knew it, like 2-3 days went by, and they hadn't seen or heard from Terrance. Okay, so that brings us to January the 12th of 2004 is when he went missing. It's also when he was reported missing, okay, because by this time it had been several days since anybody had seen or heard from him. Okay, so technically he went missing. And the reason why I said he was last seen by his mother and his roommate like around the 9th and the 10th, okay, or something like that. Okay, he was reported as missing as of January the 12th of 2004. Okay, so the overall information of the incident that took place is that Terrance Williams was allegedly driving suspiciously down the road when he was pulled over by an officer, which this so happened to be a cemetery. When the officer got in behind him and I suppose turned on his lights, Terrance pulled over, turned inside of the cemetery area, and pulled over for the officer. Okay. The officer asked him for license and registration. Now, from the reports that I also read, because I watched the show, and then I read reports on different things online. Now, online it says that after the officer pulled him over, the officer asked him for license and registration, which Terrance Williams did not have. So then the officer asked him to get out of the vehicle, searched him, and then put him in the back of the police car, which was the witness's statement who worked at the cemetery. Okay. Now, according to the officer, which I will say, when the family got this information and they began to call the sheriff's department, they're looking for this officer. You were the last person seeing him. What happened? What's going on? Where is he at? The officer flat out lied. Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't arrest anybody that day. I didn't tow any car, blah, blah, blah. So the police dispatch believed what he had to say because, he's a cop. So obviously he must be telling the truth, right? No. Okay. So, but according to the officer, he says, he's seen Terrance Williams driving kind of weirdly on the road. He pulled him over because he thought he may be having some car problems. Terrance pulled over into the cemetery. He got out And Terrance rolled his window down and he asked him, hey, you having some car problems? Can I help you? Okay. And so Terrance was like, yeah, I'm having car problems, but I'm really late for work. I need to get to work. Can I get a ride? The officer says that Terrance Williams asked him for a ride. Like, who asked the police for a ride? Anywhere. Okay? Unless you have a family member that's a police officer or something. And it's like, hey, can you give me a ride on your way, such and such? But the cop says that Terrance asked him for a ride. He was running late. He really needed to get to work. So the cop claimed he was hesitant to do so, but he was really begging him, hey, can you take me to work? I just work up the street at the Circle K store, okay? So then the officer says, okay, I'll give you a ride. Hop on in. He says he opened the passenger side of his back door, let Terrance in, and he dropped him off down the street to the Circle K. Now, according to the officer, he then went back to the cemetery to check out the vehicle. He claims that Terrance had told him that all the papers and registration for everything was in the glove box of the car, which when the officer got back, it was not, blah, blah, blah. So he ended up calling a wrecker and getting the car towed. Okay. So what I have here is that Terrance was pulled over by the officer, which was located at the cemetery. He pulled over at the cemetery. He was searched and put in the officer's police car. The officer claimed to have dropped him off at a Circle K. But he was never seen again after that, and the car was towed by the wrecker, okay, which is what I just explained to you. Later on, when pressured by internal affairs and his superiors and different things, all of a sudden he had an epiphany, okay? He had a recollection. Oh, you know what? I do remember the Terrance guy, and then this is when he changes his whole story, okay? And, but initially, at first, it's like, oh, I don't know him. I didn't make an arrest that day. I didn't tow any vehicle that day. But as a matter of fact, he did, because the wrecker, he stayed with the vehicle until the wrecker came, and he's the one who signed off for the wrecker to take the car and even insisted them in towing the vehicle. So his name is there, like he actually did, okay? But nevertheless, Terrance Williams has not been seen or heard from since, okay? Now, sometime later, okay, it was like a little while. They say it was 3 months later. In the terms of months, yes, but from what I've seen, Terrance Williams went missing January 12th of 2004. Okay, if I'm not mistaken, Felipe went missing October 14th of 2003. So technically, they were like, this happened in different years. Like the situation with Felipe actually happened before the situation with Terrance Williams, okay? But it wasn't until the family of Terrance Williams began to investigate and, make a big splash about getting some type of help and assistance to find their family member and different things like that, that the cases was linked, okay? Once a news article went out and they're like, people read it and said, hold up, this is the same cop who was involved with Felipe Santos, and he went missing too. He hasn't been seen or heard from since either. Now, what I find interesting is, okay, so now I'm going to go into Felipe Santos, okay, who was 24 years old, okay, when he went missing. He's also Mexican. Now, on the show, they claimed that Felipe Santos was born on May 26, 1980. But when I look online, Wikipedia says that he was born January the 1st, 1979. Now, if he was actually born in January, first of all, you have two people, okay? Like, because what also piqued my interest about Terrance Williams is this happened to him right before his birthday was coming up. He went missing on the 12th, okay? His birthday was on January 17th, okay? Now, if Felipe's birthday is actually January 1st of 1979, that means both of these men were born in January, number one. Okay, so that would be a red flag number two for me. Okay, when I'm looking into things like this. Okay, nevertheless, Felipe Santos was last seen on October 14th of 2003. He's been missing since around between 6 a.m. and 7 a.m. on October 14th of 2003. Okay, now the incident that took place with Felipe Santos goes as follows. Felipe Santos was driving with his two brothers, one of which is named Salvador and one other brother. Okay, they were on their way to work at a gig early in the morning. All of them were immigrants. They were in the United States illegally. Now I'm gonna tell you how I know that this situation is completely fucked up. Okay, it is bullshit from the jump, and I knew something else was going on. But here is the initial of what happened. Okay, Felipe and his brothers, two other brothers, were driving on their way to work early morning on October 14th of 2000. I need to look at this again. I need to see, was this 2003 or was this 2004? There's different accounts. Yeah, see, even on here it says Terrance Williams and Felipe Santos went missing in 2004 and 2003. Okay, so this would be four. Okay, or let's see. Yeah, Felipe is 2003. Terrance is 2004. Okay, so he was traveling with his brothers early morning. Okay, they were on their way to go to work early in the morning. Okay, so they would get gigs where they could, usually, either temp agencies or different little things where they could do like handyman type stuff, construction stuff, and different things like that, or whatever. Where probably where they could get paid under the table since they didn't have proper credentials and different things like that. Nevertheless, on their way to work, commuting to work, they had a small little insignificant little wreck. No major damage, no big kaboom. It was a little wreck, okay, that they had. Okay, this woman gets out and began to act very erratic with them. Their English is very, is kind of poor on their English, because so they could hardly understand. The woman allegedly calls the police. Okay, and sure enough, the same officer who was last seen with Terrance Williams was the officer that showed up with Felipe Santos, okay, that showed up at the scene of this wreck here. Okay, at this time, the officer ordered Felipe to get in the back seat of his car. Felipe would, however, so he arrested Felipe, and from all accounts, he cited Felipe, okay, for driving without a driver's license or insurance, also reckless driving, okay, as well as the fact that he was an immigrant. He was cited for several different things. Okay, now let me tell you how this is bullshit. Felipe was the only one who was arrested. Remember when I told you he was with two other people, his brothers? They were also immigrants. Okay, not only was that car not towed, okay, but the other two immigrant brothers were not arrested either. Okay, now if that's not fucked up enough, any police officer, if they pull you over and you have no insurance, you have no driver's license, and you have been involved in a wreck, that car is getting towed, bruh. Period. That car is getting towed. And if there's any other problems that's involved or whatever like that, or whatever that they have to arrest you for, or whatever, there's a process in them doing that too. It seems to amaze me that the other persons who are immigrants wasn't talked to, wasn't bothered, wasn't cited, wasn't arrested. The car wasn't towed, no nothing. They was just able to drive on off into the sunset or whatever. So I knew that was a red flag with that situation. Like, that just didn't sit right. Nevertheless, even though he cited Felipe, even though he arrested Felipe, even though he put Felipe in, now the difference between Felipe Santos and Terrance Williams, Terrance wasn't even charged. He didn't even cite him for anything. He didn't write him which means he didn't write him a ticket for anything. Okay? He wasn't formally arrested for anything. That officer, which his name is Stephen Calkins, okay? Officer Stephen Calkins, okay? Only thing he said about Terrance Williams is he pulled him over thinking he was having car trouble, and he offered this way a ride, okay? Yet, and dropped him off at a supposed Circle K, yet he was never seen or heard from again. Now, he was called with Felipe Santos. He was called to the scene of a crime or wreck, okay? And he ended up arresting no more, only Felipe Santos, okay? Now, he cited him now, which means he ticketed him, which means he made a report of the incident, okay? Why didn't you take him to booking? How come you didn't take him to jail? He was never registered. He was never booked at the jail at all, okay? And it seems to amaze me, like, if you watch the show, they never did charge this officer with nothing. First of all, start there. How do you arrest someone? Make a report of it. You should have took them to booking from the time that you left the scene of the fucking crime. Where did the person go? This person's in your custody. This person was arrested. But they never showed up in booking. Because later that evening, his brothers, Felipe Santos' brothers, as well as their employer that they work for, tried to go to the jail and see if they could bail him out or get him out, or, you know, what was going to be the situation or whatever. He was never even booked. He wasn't even there. How do you arrest somebody, but you don't even take him to the jail? You don't take him to booking or anything. But the police officer later said, oh, he was polite and followed orders, so I just let him go. That is bullshit. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You don't get a caller like that, okay, on nobody, and you just don't take them to the jail. Like, something else went on. Nevertheless, that's what happened, okay? Felipe was never booked in the jail, okay, and he seemingly disappeared. He was last seen with the officer, and like I said, he was never seen again. Now, this officer's name is Stephen Calkins, okay? He was a 16-year vet, if that's what you want to call him. He had been on the force for 16 years, okay? Supposedly a good officer, okay? So like I told you, the officer at first lied about even knowing Terrance Williams, okay? Then later he changed his statement, he changed his story, and he admitted that he gave Terrance a ride to the Circle K and dropped him off, okay? And that was all he said about that. While investigating that is when they found out about the Felipe Santos connection, that there was somebody else who was last seen with this officer who has seemingly disappeared too. So they began to look into that, okay? So the officer, he admitted to arresting Felipe, but claimed to have let him go and dropped him off, guess what, y'all, at the same damn Circle K that he claimed that he dropped Terrance Williams off at, okay? Which was a complete fabrication and lie, okay? The officer was questioned several different times by internal affairs, and he had to take a polygraph, which he also failed, and various different things, okay? I think they end up trying to bring civil charges against him because they never actually charged him with the crime, although he was later fired for lying to his superiors, okay, about what was going on, okay? But they never charged him with the crime of the missing men at all, okay? Now, I read people very well, okay? So I'm gonna go over my initial analysis of him, okay? And then I'm going to give you my off-top observation. This was before I jumped into doing any other type of reading or anything, okay? This is a long process. This is going to be quite a long reading, okay? I'm probably going to have to piece this together if I pause here, y'all. It's already like 4:55 in the morning, guys, okay? I haven't even been asleep since yesterday, okay? So let's get it, okay? When looking at this officer, Stephen Calkins, okay, he's cold, okay? He seems to be disinterested. He's very nonchalant, okay? He's, matter of fact, lying, okay, with a straight face. He's hesitant to answer questions while seemingly searching for the right answers to say by trying not to make a mistake when he replied, okay, with a with some type of deceiving answer, okay. um Also, he does come off like a deceiver. He's very deceiving, very dismissive, okay? He does this hysterical laughing every once in a while. He has this duper delight smile on his face while he is seemingly like his eyes are like looking down or stared out into blank space. When a person has that look on them, they're remembering something, okay? Usually if you see somebody like that, you would say they're daydreaming, okay? A person could be daydreaming, but in a situation like that, especially if you're being interrogated, you're being answered questions, and you see a person just staring off, focused on one thing and staring off, they're remembering, they're seeing something, or whatever, and he's got this duper delight smile on his face or whatever. um while he does this, okay. um and it's like he's imagining something, he's remembering, okay, what he knows or about these victims, okay, guys. So I also have here, he also seemingly got very hostile, agitated, or annoyed with persistently being asked a question, okay, or questions overall, okay. He was easily distracted by either ignoring the person who was asking him questions or pretending to be reading written material or statements that was in front of him, okay. So this is what I noticed about him. First off, but I'm gonna tell y'all straight up, like, no bullshit. I'm gonna give y'all the full reading. I got a lot of stuff already done, but I'm gonna do more and get some more in-depth information. I'm gonna do a spirit reading and all that stuff too. I haven't done that yet. I've pulled some cards and different things. So I can tell y'all matter of factly what happened with both of them right now. Straight up, sum it up. Okay? But this is my initial observation before I start doing any other work, okay? Um, so I do offer my condolences to the families of both Terrance Williams and Felipe Santos, but neither one of these men are alive anymore. Okay? Is what my spirit guides tell me. Now, my initial observation, I said to myself, I said either this officer, either the officers that these victims were last seen with is racist of people of color, or he is a sexual predator who prey on easy targets, okay. This was my first initial reaction. Like, first of all, I determined he killed them. I know he's involved with killing them, okay. Number one, I knew these men were not alive anymore, just off top. Usually I can pick that up right away when I'm looking at a missing person's, right away I can tell if they're alive anymore. I get a sense of, that's the medium abilities that pop in. I can just tell if they're alive or not. But then, profiling this cop here, I'm like, either this guy is a racist of people of color, and it's not just like, an African American thing, okay, because like Felipe is Mexican, so like, you know what I'm saying. I'm like, either he's racist and he's just got a problem with people of color regardless, or either he's a sexual predator and he preys upon, easy targets, okay? And it just so happens to be persons of color, okay? Which is what I figured, right off top. But I'm like, I got to break that down and figure out, if that is even plausible, okay? My other observation was that the officer killed the victims and disposed of the bodies somewhere, okay? Is what I thought once I knew that they were no longer alive, okay? My other observation is the officer either angrily, savagely murdered the men and got rid of the bodies right away, or he raped, tortured, and murdered the men and got rid of the bodies, okay? My next observation was something is being hidden or covered up about the missing men by higher ups. I matter of factly know that. He's not working alone. There is somebody higher up. I promise you with every fiber of my being, he is not doing this alone. Period. Period. Okay? I know he's not. Okay? And this happened in the 2000s. Like, first of all, most cops don't even work alone. Okay? Most cops don't even work alone. Most cops, especially the ones that's on the beat, street cops, they have a partner. Okay? Um, and or but there's some who do may work alone or whatever, but most beat cops in this day and time with all the stuff that goes on, like, if a cop get a call right now that there's a shooting, he is in the vehicle, there's like 2 3 cop cars pull over, or I'm saying, go to that scene, if not more. And all of those cop cars, it's got got partners in each one of them. Okay, I've seen cars pulled over on the side of the road that's got pulled over for whatever reason, and it'd be 2 or 3 cops sitting behind them, lined up. Okay, and I'd be like, that is so ridiculous for a simple traffic stop. You understand what I'm saying? This guy he's not working alone. I'm telling you. Something is being hidden and is being covered up about these missing men. Okay, there's higher ups who know exactly what is going on. I know it with every fiber of my being. Also, my other observation is that someone in power knows, like I just said, knows what happened exactly. Okay. And Officer Stephen Calkins, they know what happened, what he did to these victims as well. Okay, guys. Now, those were my initial observations before I start breaking this thing down and doing some major work. Okay. Goodness, guys, this is a lot of work. This is a lot of freaking work. I really can break this down, but and just tell you straight up what exactly happened. But I need y'all to see the card and how and everything and how I broke this down. Okay. So we're gonna start with Terrance Williams. Okay. So the first card I have here is Shadow Government. Okay, I told you there are persons in power higher up that knows what's going on with this young man. Okay, I am sad to say this, y'all. Okay, I have here human organ harvesters, traffickers. Okay, so human traffickers, but they do so for the purposes of these persons' organs. Okay, I'm gonna tell y'all straight up. Terrance Williams was murdered for the purposes of taking his organs. He is no longer alive, and after he was killed and his organs was taken out, first of all, he was trafficked. He was taken to a specific location. Okay. He experienced several different things. Okay, I know that, but he was trafficked to a specific location that he was supposed to be transported to, and this was done in the purposes of killing him and taking his organs. Okay, and these are some very wicked persons. So at that point, once they took the organs that they wanted out of his body, and I specifically picked up heart. It could be other organs that they want, but I know they took the heart out of Terrance. Okay? Yeah, they took the heart. One of two things happened. Either they disposed of the rest of his remains, and the disposal could happen in many of different ways. He could have been sent to a slaughterhouse and literally grinded, okay? Or the rest of his remains could have been thrown in a river or an ocean or something like that, okay? Or he was consumed, okay? And a lot of people, they kind of disregard people consuming human beings, but there are a lot of cannibals, okay? Especially high up in power who, cannibalize their victims, okay? Which is why a lot of people's bodies never, you know, people seemingly disappear and they're never seen or heard from again. Like, it's one thing for a person to disappear, and it's one thing for something malicious or foul to happen to someone, but at some point you find the body. You understand what I'm saying? Having that body is what gives people's closure, even if something horrific happened to them, because you can have a memorial and different things for them. Okay, a lot of times when these bodies aren't found here, it's because they have been consumed or other things have been done. So other parts of their body are used for meat, for various different things. It gets really gross, guys. Okay, so we have police brutality here. Okay, so he definitely endured some police brutality. We have these motherfuckers going crazy here. I know that card is kind of hard to see with the light being dim in here right now, but we have the MFs, these MFs going crazy here. Okay, once again, human traffickers. Okay, so he Terrance was set up. Okay, this was done on purpose here. Okay, and this is also how I know that this officer is teamed up and working with others. You understand what I'm saying? And he gets compensated, he gets payment for finding easy targets and transporting them. Okay, so we have lightning strike here. Okay, this talks about a sudden attack, something happening suddenly, all of a sudden, out the blue. There was a sudden attack that happened on Terrance Williams here. We have here, beware of the snakes trying to come into your life to harm you or fool you. This is here under organ harvester traffickers here. Okay, we have secret island here that sits on police brutality. He was taken to a specific place with the secret island here where they handle these type of things here. Okay, we have here, you are being used for money here. Okay, so Terrance was killed for the purpose, he was killed for multiple different reasons. He was killed for the purposes of money, and that happened in multiple different ways. I feel like, to be quite honest with you, I feel like there are others linked to Terrance Williams that knows he was a target and was going to be set up. Just period. Okay? Why? Because several people were paid off for what happened to him. Not just the cop. There were other people who were paid off by a wealthy man, okay, in power, for what happened to Terrance Williams. I know this, matter of factly. Also, the other way that he was used for money is after those organs were taken, they were sold. So money was made off of his body parts as well. Okay? So we have pure evil here. This sits here under human traffickers. Okay? These persons who are involved in this, okay? These type of operations, y'all need to understand, this is big business. This we're talking about $1 million, $1 billion industry, from human trafficking, sex trafficking, drug trafficking. This goes on every day, and it's $1 billion business. Okay, and unfortunately, this is what happened to Terrance Williams. Okay, he got caught up at the wrong place at the wrong damn time, but it's no coincidence that happened like that, okay? Because I feel like he was targeted, okay? So we have here, they're dangerous. This sits under the shadow government here with lightning strike here, okay? This talks about, this says you can't trust them. Get out. Don't look back, okay? Get out, okay? They wanted his organs. They killed him for the purposes of his organs. We got bad vibes all around here, okay? A lot of negative energy here, okay? The persons who wanted him gone wanted his organs specifically, okay? And there were persons who were paid to stay silent, persons who was paid to go along with the setup and everything, okay? So we have the devil in disguise here, okay? This talks about some very, a lot of evil, a lot of wickedness, two-faced individuals, shapeshifters. Okay, this type of shit gets done on a daily basis for the shapeshifters that is on this earth. Okay, y'all need to understand they feed off of human flesh daily. They don't eat like regular people. They feed off of human flesh. Okay, this evil in disguise, though, this sits under police brutality, secret island here. Okay, there's something very wicked, very sinister, very evil, very demonic about the police officer. Okay, who pulled over Terrance Williams. Okay, there's other people involved, no doubt, but don't get it twisted in thinking, oh, he's just, the little middleman who just, do a little nothing for a little money, type thing. He's very sinister and evil himself in his participation in what goes on. So we have white male here. So there was definitely Caucasian people involved in what is going on here. We also have betrayal. Okay, so this was definitely betrayal. Okay, Terrance was abused in various different ways. He was trafficked. Okay, and he was brutally murdered. And his organs was ripped from his body. We have here, you can't trust anybody. Okay, so Terrance could not trust anybody here. Okay, we have satanic sellouts. So all persons involved in this are satanic sellouts. They're sold out to the satanic powers that be. Terrance Williams was a sacrifice. Just period. Okay, individuals in occults, individuals in secret societies are involved. Okay, we have here, be careful who you trust here. This sits under police brutality here. Okay, that police officer is definitely not to be trusted. We also have here crossover spirit. Okay, so unfortunately, Terrance Williams has crossed over. Okay, he is no longer alive. Okay, we also have here wickedness in high places here. Beast system 666. Okay, this talks about the satanic powers that be. This talks about the shadow government. This talks about very wealthy, prominent, supposed elite people in power here. Okay, as well do we have, they're spreading lies. Okay, so the things that they're saying, the things that they're going about doing, they're spreading lies. Spirit say it was an inside job. Yeah, Spirit says that this was a inside job, okay, of what happened to Terrance. Okay, guys? Hold on just a minute. Okay, guys. So, the first card we have here is main male. So, I feel like this is going to be Terrance energy here, okay? We have main male. We have concern. Okay, so obviously he was in concern. He was worried, okay, about something. This something had him in despair. Okay, so he was concerned. He was worried. He was in despair over something, okay? And Spirit is saying it's because of this official person here, this police officer. He ended up getting pulled over here, okay? Now, here's this wealthy man that I told you who is linked up with that this official person, this police officer, is working with or working for, okay? That is running this human trafficking operation. This person who is pure evil here, okay? This person who is all about betrayal, okay? Wickedness in high places here, okay? Now, we have pathway here. So, Terrance was traveling down a specific road. He was going in a specific direction, traveling down a specific road in a specific area, or what have you here, okay? The reason why he was concerned, okay, is because Terrance was driving a stolen vehicle, okay? He had no license. He had no registration. He had no insurance for the vehicle here, okay? This had him in despair here, okay? When he got pulled over by the cops, it's caused an immediate shift or change, okay, in his motion, okay? Because he knew that he was going to be arrested, that this officer was going to arrest him, and he did, you know, search him and then put him into custody, put him in his vehicle here, okay? But at this point in time, you know, Terrance is worried about going to jail, about not having a license, not having registration for the vehicle, not having insurance, blase, blase, bloom, or even the, you know, the officer finding out that the vehicle was stolen, okay? Which is also, that's what I meant, guys, which is also how I know that other people who are linked to Terrance was involved with setting him up. There is other people who was paid hush money or went along with the setup because he was a target, okay? He was riding around in a stolen vehicle. Remember how I told you in the beginning how I found it suspicious how the mother said that, you know, one day she giving him a ride and he paying her gas money to get him a ride to work. But the friend slash roommate of his says that he was driving his car, you know, this car that he got all of a sudden, and didn't have a driver's license, insurance, registrations, or, you know, any proper paperwork at all, tags or anything at all on the vehicle, okay? So, like, this is what was going on. This is what had him worried, because he knew he was traveling down this pathway. He was in a stolen vehicle, okay? So he was concerned. He was in despair. He was worried, okay, about everything, but he had no idea the shicey shit that was to come, and that the whole thing was a setup, okay? Because, and that's another reason why at each one of these crime scenes, or, you know, where these situations that happened, this officer showed up alone. They were already being tailed. They were already being watched. It's what y'all need to understand. It's no coincidence that this man just happened to be, you know, randomly in some area at a specific time, and these men just happened to go missing. He was, the shit was set up, y'all. Terrance was set up, and this officer is following orders even still, okay? And the malicious crap that he's doing here, okay? So we have Journey here. This journey card here lets me know that this official person arrested him, okay? Imprisoned him, arrested him, okay? And trafficked him. He drove him somewhere else, and he took him to this wealthy man here, okay? This wealthy man and this official person, they had their way with Terrance, okay? And at this point in time is when he was killed, with the coffin cart being here, okay? Terrance Williams, like, lived in poverty, okay? Like, he wasn't like dirt poor living on the streets, but he wasn't, you know, super wealthy and well off either, okay? You know, he worked like, you know, minimum wage job or whatever, but he was working nonetheless, okay? But he lived in poverty here, okay? Terrance was a sacrifice, okay? People closest to him, okay, went along with this setup. Terrance was killed for his organs, for money, is why Terrance was killed. How do I know? Because persons made great fortune off of him. I'm talking about so much money, y'all. The next car, all three of these cars is money. You got great fortune, unexpected income, and sudden wealth. Several people was paid off for what happened to Terrance Williams, okay? He was set up. He was wrongfully imprisoned, okay? Arrested by this officer who is working in conjunctions with a very wealthy man in power, okay? He was trafficked to this wealthy man, where he was then taken advantage of in various different ways until his death, and his organs were removed, okay? And there's a lot of money involved. Great fortune, unexpected income, sudden wealth. This officer got paid. Whoever paid for the organs out of this boy's body got paid. People were paid hush money. People were paid to go along with the setup. People close to him, okay, knew him, knew his lifestyle, okay. Knew that Terrance was a target and went along with the setup, okay. He was killed in this house here. This is a mansion though, okay. This is a very big property of some kind. It's where he was murdered. Was his final resting place. Okay. Spirit, are there any other messages? This person's home that he was taken to is somebody who is in high honor. Somebody who is very wealthy, who is very prominent, who is probably very well known here, okay? But very wealthy and high ranking. That's that wealthy man here. There's people in the community that know other things. The lifestyle that this young man may have lived, the type of things he was involved in. People aren't saying, not telling the full truth about everything, okay? And of course, they're not going to say that they know about how or why he was set up. Terrance Williams was targeted, okay? And this officer was sent, okay? He's a sellout to the satanic powers that be, and he was paid to go and do the dirty work of the powers that be, okay? He set an expectation, waiting for him to come along to play out this entire this whole entire ordeal. I will tell you, I'm going to check it again when I do the spirit reading portion, but I will tell you that I believe that possible rape, sodomy, and torture could have happened before Terrance Williams was murdered, okay? And his organs was removed. Yeah. Spirit are saying that these are false persons. This officers, this wealthy person. This is somebody who is high ranking in power. Very wealthy. Probably very well known. But these are fake, phony, fraudulent as individuals who are wearing a mask, who are not who they appear to be. Yeah, they may dress nice, they may look good, they got a lot of money, they're real flashy, they're real privileged, but they're false persons and they're wearing a mask. They are not who they appear to be. Okay? People sat back in expectation waiting for this to happen so they can get their unexpected income, so they can get their payout. This official person, this officer, wrongfully arrested, imprisoned, held hostage Terrance Williams for the purposes of money. Terrance was in despair over this, okay? Because something happened swiftly. This change happened swiftly all of a sudden. If you notice here on this change card, you see that vehicle there? Okay? But do you see this man back here watching? Somebody knows something. Okay? A tail was put on him. Somebody know how he got that vehicle, seeing him when he either stole that vehicle or something. Because my spirit guides say the vehicle was stolen. Okay? But I don't really much care about the business with the vehicle. Because that ain't got a damn thing to do with why the hell he lost his life. And why the hell he's still missing. I'm just telling you, you know, I have to tell y'all the whole truth. Okay? You have to know every piece of a story. Okay? To be able to connect all the dots here. They used that as leverage, but he was targeted. People in the community who are rats, who are informants and different shit. went along with the setup and targeting Terrance Williams and could have been feeding him information. He already had a tell on him, bruh. That's why they only needed to send one officer after him. They didn't want to make a big deal about, you understand what I'm saying? Pull him over and multiple officers is there and you know, all of that. You understand what I'm saying? This was set up though. This was set up. Just period. Okay, guys. So when I clarified main male, which is going to be the energy of Terrance Williams, I have journey. You see how he was traveling? A journey talks about someone who's traveling, who's driving, who's taking a trip, who's traveling down the street, okay? No matter how they're traveling nonetheless. This is what he was doing, okay, on that day, okay? He was concerned, he was worried because this foe here, okay, a foe is someone who's an enemy. A foe is someone who's an opponent, had pulled him over. He was in despair, okay, because he was worried and concerned about going to prison because he was riding around with no driver's license, no insurance, no registration, and in a stolen vehicle. This official person is in service. We got service here that clarifies official person. Somebody in service is someone who is working for someone, helping someone, doing a job for someone. When you are in service, you are getting paid by someone to do a specific job. To clarify wealthy men, we have pleasure seekers here. Spirit is saying that this wealthy man is a pleasure seeker here. He's running a whole human sex trafficking operations and various other organ harvesting operations, all kinds of things he's involved in. But a pleasure seeker is someone who do things for their own amusement, their own enjoyment, their own ill wills, their own liking, their own desires. Okay? So Terrance traveled down this pathway. He decided to go down this specific, take this specific route, go down this specific street here, okay? And he wound up in despair, okay, when he was pulled over, okay? Why? You got thief here on thief twice. Now, I'm going to tell you how this goes hand in hand. Because the first thief we have here was the fact that Terrance was riding in a stolen vehicle. Okay. The second thief is sitting on thief because Terrance was abducted. When the officer placed him under, searched him, got him out the vehicle, searched him, and put him in the backseat of his car, he then trafficked him and took him somewhere else. Okay. That means that he, as a person, was stolen. Okay. This is why you got thief on thief here. This is what this was, this major shift, this major change here, okay? Once again, do you see the persons out here? You see how, where's that man? That man is sitting out. There's people watching what's going on here. And you see this vehicle ends up getting left here, okay? Something surprised Terrance. He was shocked. He was surprised that he was in this situation. This is why he fell in despair. He thinking the man's getting ready to take him to prison or take him to jail, rather. But when he realized, dude ain't even going towards the jail, man, he taking me somewhere else. Okay? Now he's in sorrow. That's why we got imprisonment here. Sorrow sits on imprisonment. So, because now he didn't realize, oh shit, this man just done grabbed me. He done took me, man. He ain't even taking me to the jail. He in sorrow now. Okay? Because he knows something else is up. You see this person here? You see how their clothes is ripped off of them? And they're just wailing and crying and upset. Because now he knows what's going on. He's being trafficked. A merchant is sitting here on journey. Journey talks about one traveling from one destination to another. A merchant is a person or a company dealing with foreign countries, okay? Or it don't necessarily have to be with a foreign country, okay? But it talks about wholesale and trade. What was this officer? Didn't I tell you that this wealthy man here, this pleasure seeker, sitting here with human traffickers, sitting here with pure evil, sitting here with betrayal, sitting here with wickedness in high places. That's what a merchant is. He's into wholesale and trade. Human trafficking. He wholesales and trade humans. Organs. Y'all, this is what happened to Terrance. To clarify coffin, we have death. Terrance eventually was murdered. They wanted his organs. To clarify satanic sellouts with prophecy here, we have the enemy. Okay? Enemy. They could have looked at him like an enemy, but they were the enemies. Okay? To clarify, be careful who you trust with great fortune here. Well, to clarify this great fortune, we have Sai here. Now, isn't it interesting that the person here that's sitting on this card, you see how she's draped in black? You see how she's got this photo in her hand, like this picture of this person. Okay? Do you see the boat back there? A lot of shipping and different things going on boats, right? Okay? When a person is dressed like this, they're like, usually a person sigh for different reasons. A person sighing is like a person huffing and puffing. Somebody was sitting and waiting for this to get done so they can get this great fortune. This is how I know that there are other people who know that this was going to go down. Who knows that Terrance Williams was a target. Who knows that this is a setup. And they were either paid to go along with the setup, or they was paid hush money to stay quiet about what they know. Terrance was killed for his organs and for the purposes of money. He was a sacrifice, spirit say. When I clarify unexpected income, we got fortunes here. I'm talking about all kind of money being thrown all over the place. The officer got paid. Other people close to this case, this situation got paid. Okay? Who got the sudden wealth? Who got that type of money to throw around? Nothing more than the Lord here. The ruler, the master, the person in power and authority of influence, who holds structure and organization around here. Don't he look like a pimp? He look like an old Caucasian pimp, don't he? This is here on wickedness in high places with certain wealth with the Lord here. Somebody gonna tell the truth in a minute. Somebody gonna tell the truth in just a minute. But I already did. Okay, guys. So when I clarify the main male with Journey, we have the Temperance card here. As well as we have the Seven of Swords that came out here. Okay. So, now we know that the Seven of Swords talks about lying, cheating, stealing, one sneaking, creeping, trying to get away with something here. There was an aspect to Terrance Williams, though. I feel like he had a life purpose. Okay? Which most people have a life purpose or whatever. I say to have a life purpose. But with this temperance energy, I feel like that there was... He still had like this angelic type of connection or divine connection to the Most High, okay? Like he was supposed to be an earth angel or something like that. He may have just gotten mixed up in wrong things in life, as many have, or whatever. But there were some lies and some deceptions and different things as it relates to him. Okay, but moving right along. To clarify concern with foe, we have the Nine of Wands, or excuse me, the Ten of Wands here, okay? Now, the Ten of Wands talks about burdens, hardships, problematic situations, stress, anxiety, worry, okay? One having to deal with a lot, okay? This is that pressure that Terrance felt, which caused him to be in severe concern, okay, when he got pulled over here, okay? We also have the Seven of Wands here. Okay, so he was in some really um defensive type of energy here. He felt like he needed to protect himself. He became very worried um with this cop here. Okay, he did endure some police brutality from this cop as well. I feel like this cop beat him and did various different things to him. Terrance Williams endured a lot, okay, because the Seven of Wands talks about endurance here. And we already know that there was a problem. There was a hardship that was burdened, that was placed upon him, okay? And this is the reason why he was in despair here, okay? To clarify, official person with service here, we have the Ten of Swords. This was ultimate betrayal here. This was ultimate betrayal here. But Terrance Williams was betrayed unto his death. He was stabbed in the back multiple times. And with the Ten of Swords coming out here, this lets me know that multiple persons. He was stabbed in the back by multiple persons, okay? There could be up to 10 people who know exactly what happened to Terrance Williams and who got cuts, who got payouts for staying quiet about what they know, okay? Yeah. Because when I clarify wealthy man and pleasure seekers here, sitting here with on the human traffickers, pure evil, okay, these organ harvesters and things, we got the Three of Cups. This talks about a third party situation. This talks about groups of people coming together, okay, to pull something off. 3 or more people. You even see 3 people here on the pleasure seekers card, okay? There were several people involved in this setup, okay? So to clarify pathway with despair, we have the King of Disc here, okay? This is the King of Coins, okay? This is Terrance energy, okay? To clarify thief, and well, both thief cards here, we have the Nine of Swords. This is the reason why he was so worried. He was in mental conflict about what was going to happen, what was he going to do, what was going to happen. He was really stressed and worried about this because he got pulled over in his stolen car. But he had no idea just how he was going to be ambushed and caught off guard and go through what he went through, okay? To clarify change with surprise, and this is what caught him by surprise here. There was a sudden, swift change here that caught him by surprise here. Why? Because a judgment, because a decision had been made. Once again, you see the 3 persons? Judgment talks about others judging you. Judgment talks about decisions being made here. He went through a lot of police brutality. But when you look at this, does this not look like a huge penis? Not being nasty or funny. Does this not look like a huge penis that's busting through something here? Okay. Now, if you look at it even closer, it looks also like some type of rocket type of ship thing or something falling from the sky or whatever. But when you look at this, okay, when you first look at this, doesn't this look like a penis? There was a judgment. There was a decision that was made. He was brutalized in various different ways. Terrance Williams was, by this officer as well as the persons that he was delivered to. Okay? And when I clarify imprisonment with sorrow, we have the tower. That's when this tower collapsed. That's when tragedy struck. That's when suddenly his life was snuffed out. Okay? The tower talks about tragedy suddenly happening all of a sudden. When I clarify journey and merchant, we have the Chariot. He was trafficked. He was beat, sodomized. He was trafficked. But they wanted him dead for the purposes of his organs. That was the sole purpose in killing him. The other shit, the gross crap that they did leading up to his death was just their wickedness. You understand what I'm saying? If you're just talking about in the terms of killing somebody, there's a lot of ways to kill somebody where it could be quick, fast, painless, instant. Okay? But when a person is brutalized in ways and then killed and then have their organs ripped from their body, this is overkill. So to clarify coughing and the moon, coughing and death here, we have the moon here. So this is something that was done in secrets, behind the scenes, behind closed doors. Okay? This also speaks to criminal activity, decisions being made, secrets, hidden things, what's done in the dark. Okay? See, these are the type of things that they keep hidden and they keep covered up. That's the very reason why these operations are run, ruled, and controlled by very wealthy, prominent people in power. So when I clarify satanic sellouts with poverty and enemy, here we have the 9 of coins. I'm telling you, multiple persons knows what happened to Terrance Williams and was paid hush money to stay silent about it. Many people know that he was a target, was paid hush money to stay silent about it. Many people were paid. The sellouts, the satanic sellouts were paid. So to clarify great fortune with Psy here, we have death. Terrance Williams was murdered. And somebody who was sitting and waiting for this to happen, sighing over the situation, they were paid great fortune. It's just right here on be careful who you trust. He was killed. To clarify, crossed over spirit with unexpected income and fortune here, we have the high priestess. So once again, secret knowledge, secret information, occulted knowledge, what is hidden, what is unknown to the vast majority of the masses here. The high priestess here. This talks about secret information, secret knowledge here. This is something that is planned and schemed amongst those in secret societies and those amongst the elite, those very wealthy and prominent in power. These are the sneaky, freaky, creepy, low down, and dirty doings that they have going on behind the scenes because they demonic gods got to be fed. This is the reason why we have so many people that come up missing. I tell you all the time, 800,000 children alone go missing every year. That doesn't include the teenagers. That does not include grown-ass individuals like Terrance Williams that seemingly vanish. Nobody is recovered. They're never seen or heard from ever again. And how do you think that is? Where in the fuck do you think all of these bodies are being housed at? You think they're just evaporating? Nobody's thinking logically and putting the pieces of the puzzle together. You get a whole lot of people who claim they care, but they don't care to tell the real damn truth. Because they mixed and mingled and entangled with the satanic powers that be too. See, I ain't working for nobody, so I can come on here and tell y'all the real raw truth. Clarify sudden wealth with Lord. We got the 10 of coins. He got the bags, okay? He the one got the money, the wickedness in high places here that's paying off everybody for this. Somebody high up in power. He has to be of a specific bloodline or something like that or whatever. Somebody or not bloodline, blood type or something. He must have had pretty good or healthy organs. And he was still young. They wanted his organs. Yeah. When he was taken to this house, this mansion here. When he was trafficked to wherever this place is, there was a fight, a struggle, conflict that broke out. Okay? To clarify high honor here, we have the Five of Wands. There were persons who were in competition with Terrance Williams too. Jealous of him, envious of him. Even. Spiteful towards him. Somebody wanted revenge on him. That's why they went along with this setup. Five of Coins here. Abandoned, neglected, left out in the cold here. Five of Cups here. Sadness, loss, misery, pain, anguish, disappointments. Three of Swords. Heartache, heartbreak. Did I tell you that they took his heart? Ain't that what I told you? They took his heart. Y'all remember that wealthy man? He's a master magician. See what he got in his hand? Don't that look like a heart? And look at his table. You see, look like all these other little body parts and different tools he got. And look like different little parts of bodies. But he got a heart in his hand. See, they eat this shit. And they drink blood and all kinds of things too. I ain't trying to freak nobody out. I'm just trying to tell you the truth. Yeah. Got the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Swords at the bottom of the deck, as well as the Ace of Coins. Ace, 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 baby. 3 aces. See, what I'm telling you here may cause you to have extreme feelings and overwhelming emotions about what I'm telling you. Because it's so awful and so gruesome and so cutthroat and so ruthless. But it's the very reason you got this sword here, this Ace of Swords here in the middle of the deck. Because Spirit is telling you that this is the truth. I'm giving you clarity here. But with this Ace of Coins here, who all got all the money for this? With the world that sits in behind that, completions, endings. With the Nine of Wands that sits in behind that, this talks about sacrifice. He was sacrificed. Terrance Williams was a blood sacrifice. And that was the decision that was made. Somebody went to the crossroads. Somebody made that deal with the devil. And somebody made the decision that it would be a good idea to sacrifice Terrance Williams. Okay, y'all. So that's what I have thus far for Terrance. Okay. I'm going to do, I have done just as much work thus far for Felipe. So we're going to get into his next, okay? And then I think I'm going to break this down into segments here, okay? Because I have, like I said, I have the same amount of work that I've done thus far for Felipe, okay? That situation is going to trip you all the way out, because that to me ain't even is how they set it up to look, how they set it up to be. Kind of similar, but a twist. But a twist. Okay? And I'm also going to do a spirit reading for them. Okay, now my spirit readings go a little bit different. This is me contacting spirit directly. Okay, and it provides a channel, an opening for either Terrance Williams or Felipe Santos to communicate directly with certain questions. I mean, you know, with certain questions that I asked to answer, rather, certain questions that I asked y'all. Okay. So we're going to get into Felipe next. Okay, guys. Hold on. And real quick, I just want to say, for those of you who love and cherished and cared about any one of these men, okay? But since we're working on Terrance Williams right now, for those of you who loved him and cared about him, I am sorry to tell you, because of the persons who are involved in this. Um, and because of what was done to him, it is unlikely to get his remains. Like, this has happened now, what, like 19 years ago? Okay, so, that's very unfortunate and it's very sad. You know what I'm saying? Okay, but, you know, for those of you who these are your loved ones and you cared about these persons or what have you, it's probably been very, I can, you know, I can only imagine that it's been very hard for you all of these years, just not even knowing, you know, what the heck is going on or where they are in the first place. But for those of you wondering, I will say that those of them who are the wealthiest that's involved in this situation will stay hidden. And number two, his body or his remains. I mean, because at this point, he would just be, you know, a skeleton or whatever. If his remains even were to still exist, okay? But they are no more. Okay, so they are unlikely to be found, unfortunately. So, you know, I just wanted to say that because a lot of time people, you know, hold on to the hope of recovering their loved ones and things like that. Okay, like if this was some average Joe, like, you know, if this was some roundaway who had some beef with him, you know, and did something to harm him, they would have, you know, even if it was like some roundaway person who say, you know, like gun violence or something, they would have shot him and left him right there. You understand what I'm saying? But in as awful and as gruesome that is, that would still be like losing a family member, but at least you have had closure, know what happened, and have their body and give them proper memorial and grieve them the way you want to and different things like that or whatever. It's just a different situation when your loved ones just disappear and you never see or hear from them ever the freak again or whatever. And in those situations, in those cases, when that happens, I can guarantee you that it is because there are very, very wealthy persons involved. Okay? And you can look at that, and that's one of the biggest things on a lot of cases, okay? Especially when there are either suspicious clues that connect, like with these two guys and how they led back to this one specific officer and different things or whatever, or when there is little to no clues, yet they're never seen or heard from ever again, and there's no closure, and it just ends up being a cold case or something like that. You can almost guarantee that there are wealthy, prominent people behind the scenes in power, and they know exactly what happened. So I just wanted to come on and tell you all that. Okay, with shadow government being the first card to come out, though, as well as we seen wealthy man and all of that, and Lord and all of that, there's some very, very wealthy, prominent people involved here. Okay, I'm talking about very wealthy, millionaires or above type wealthy. Okay, I ain't even talking about no thousandaires. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about millionaires and above. Okay. Now there could be, you know, other smaller individuals like that officer who is nothing but a puppet, nothing but a foot soldier, who takes orders from his handlers, from his superiors, and get paid for, you know, get paid and get patted on the butt for doing a good job for master. That's how that works. But I also matter of factly know that there are people high up who know exactly what happened, and a lot of things are covered up. And the only reason why I feel like this situation even got half as much attention as it did is because certain persons kept being persistent with wanting answers for what happened to this person, to the point where it forced the hand of, say, internal affairs and other persons to get involved and, say, at least question, you know, this person. Okay, guys, so let's go on to Felipe Santos. Okay, guys, so in reference to Felipe Santos, the messages that I have are as follows. So we have here satanic cult. Can y'all see that? Satanic cult. People spying on you. Money. Somebody can't stop watching you. Once again, we have traffickers. Satanic powers that be. Government cruel and unusual punishment. The high priestess. Systematic abuse. Y'all remember I told you that Felipe Santos was a illegal immigrant in the United States, okay? But there were people who was jealous of him. He was being watched, okay? He was already on the radar of the government, other powers that be, but he was being watched by his own kind as well as other people, okay? And there's various different things that they do with immigrants. Most people don't know, but the ones that come over here, many of them, especially if they get caught over here illegally, many of them are bribed into selling out, okay, and end up being puppets and shepherds for the devil. They have to sell out to these satanic powers that be, that's the bribe that they get for, either giving them their citizenship or allowing them to stay in the U.S. Many of them, when they do that, then they turn rats on their own kind of others who come over here, and they report this back to the powers that be. Many of them get set up like how Felipe did, for the purposes of money for themselves, okay? So they essentially sell out their own kind for money and to ensure that they can stay in the U.S. and they won't get deported. There's many different things that goes on, okay? And oftentimes illegal immigrants are killed, okay? And they're abused in various different ways, harmed in various different ways, from being robbed to being, mistreated and misused, just because of the simple fact that people know that they're some of them are illegal immigrants, and they can't, go run into the police to report certain things or whatever for fear of being deported and different things. So there's a lot of different abuses that happen with illegal immigrants here that most people are unaware of. So we have to pay attention to the signs and the symbolisms all around you. Hispanic man, excuse me. Don't lose yourself, think all is well, and become someone's sacrifice. This is here under people spying on you and government cruel and unusual punishment. They are jealous, envious, and intimidated by you, okay? What y'all need to understand is that even though Felipe was an illegal immigrant, it's like people dislike illegal immigrants. Some people dislike illegal immigrants, but to be honest with you, there's quite a few employers who will hire them, okay, and pay them under the table. Them people come over here and they work their ass off harder than Americans. They will work from sun up to sundown without a complaint at all every single day if you allow them to, okay? And because they need that money or whatever. But many of them are very hard and very efficient workers and different things like that. Like, they'll get up at the crack of the dawn and work like all day and all night long. So there's many different ways for them to try to find work and different things and make money. Somebody was watching Felipe, so him and his brothers were doing that he was being watched. There was other people who was jealous and envious and intimidated by him because of the money that he was making. Okay, so these informants, these rats that they have amongst their community of people, was reporting back to the powers that be. So that's also the reason why he was being spied on and watched too. But what actually happened with him is going to like flip y'all out. So we got the blues here. We have police officer, secret spy, satanic ritual abuse, fighter, Mexican woman. This is the rat here. This is the informant. This is the mole within the community. She was reporting back. She was watching him the whole time and reporting all kind of information back to the powers that be, which is the reason why he was being watched so hard. We got PSYOP here. For those of you who don't know what a PSYOP is, that's a psychological operation. Okay, we have stalker, slavery and genocide, construction worker. I do believe that Felipe and his brothers were doing construction work. Was the type of work that they were able to get, you know, during the time like when this happened here. We have negative energy all around. This talks about abuse, bullying, anger, darkness, tempers, antimatter. We have car here. Okay, we have fiery anger as well as inside job. Okay, so I'm gonna tell y'all straight up. Okay, I'm gonna go into the other messages and it's gonna prove what I'm getting ready to tell you. Okay, guys. So I already briefly told you what was going on. Felipe and his brothers were being watched, okay, by their people as well as our government. They may have thought that they were, on the low, keeping it hushed, or at the fact that they, were immigrants and different things like that or whatever. But they were being watched, okay? Even though there are employers that will hire them and pay them under the table, those persons are still intertwined with other higher ups, so they can speak with other people about the workers that they have working for them and different things like that or whatever. But with this Mexican woman here, there was a Mexican woman, okay, who was watching Felipe and his brothers, and she was reporting back to certain persons in power about how much money, how much work he was getting, how much money he was making. And you'll have to understand, when they work and that money that they make is essentially tax free. You understand what I'm saying? This is how, if the government finds out about this, why they end up being on their case too, because they're not paying any taxes, okay, to the government or whatever. But there's human traffickers as well as drug traffickers involved in the situation here, okay? The satanic powers that be are involved in the situation here, okay? A lot of secret hidden things that's going on in the situation with the high priestess being here, okay? So they was just living life. They had people who was Felipe had people who was jealous of him, envious of him, and intimidated by him, okay? He did put up a bit of a fight once things popped off and started happening and going on. So on the day that this happened, like I told you, y'all remember at like around 6 something in the morning, Felipe and his other 2 brothers were traveling to go to work, okay, early in the morning, when all of a sudden they had this little fender bender in traffic, okay? This woman gets out. She's all irate. She's yelling and screaming. They can barely understand because their English is not that good. And they were begging the woman, please don't call the cops because, they're immigrants or whatever. Then they said they would pay for the damages. But this woman was persistent, was insistent on, I already called the cops and they're on their way, okay? Now, didn't 2-3 cops show up, okay? Only 1 cop show up, and sure as shit state, it was none other than Officer Stephen Calkin, okay? So this is what my spirit guides tell me that happened. First of all, the woman who was driving the car, you see this car sits on the side up here with the police officer and everything. The woman who was driving this car is an op. She's a gang stalker, and she's an op. She was already in place before they came down the road. They travel a certain way to work. I feel like every day or whatever. This woman was an op. She was already in place. Okay, the wreck was staged on purpose. She like you know how people be driving and they'll all of a sudden slam on their brakes in front of you to purposely make you hit them or something like that. She did something like that, but it was staged. Okay, she got some type of warning. She sat and wait in an area, got some type of warning when they were on their way, so she would be right, near them when they came up. Okay, and a whole accident was staged here. Her calling the police, when she called the police, she specifically called that cop. Okay, I don't feel like it was dispatched in like a 911 call or something like that. She specifically called this police officer, okay, who was in on the entire setup. Okay, it was all staged. This is the reason why Felipe was the only one who was arrested. Okay, because if you look at the situation entirely, Felipe as well as his other two brothers were all illegal immigrants. You understand what I'm saying? But Felipe was the only one who was arrested, put in a police car, who was cited for not only carelessly, recklessly driving, okay, but the fact that he was a legal immigrant, he didn't have a proper driver's license, and all other charges that he was charged with. He was actually cited with this. The officer actually wrote a report this time on this guy, yet you didn't take him to the police department. You want people to believe that you just said you decided to be a nice guy and say, oh, I'm gonna let you go, okay? But like, if that was the case, how come you didn't let him go there, still with his vehicle, still with his brothers? You drive him away from the scene of the incident and then decide to let him go. Where'd you let him off at? He said, oh, I dropped him off at the Circle K, the same Circle K that he claimed he dropped off Terrance Williams. He's a lying. Okay, it was all a setup, y'all. It was all staged. Everybody was in on it. From the woman that was in the wreck, okay, she was an op who was purposely placed, to the Mexican woman who had been secretly spying on him and reporting back to the satanic powers that be the type of money he was making, where he was working, in him and his brothers, and all of this or whatever, and he was targeted. Okay. There are even certain persons either that's close to him that went along with the setup so that they could get paid and to keep them from being deported. Okay? This is what went on with Felipe. Okay? And then everything else that went on with him happened thereafter the officer left with him from that scene. Okay? But I'm telling you, the wreck was staged. The officer was paid. The woman driving the other car was paid. The Mexican woman who's a spy and the rat and the informant was paid. There were several people involved in what went on with Felipe, but he was already being targeted, bro. He was already being watched well before this situation happened. Well before. And they set this up. They set this up and they staged these things like this. You know why? Because especially for persons who are immigrants, if they know what's good for them, they ain't trying to commit no crimes or get in no trouble with the fucking law because they're immigrants. So 9 times out of 10, Felipe wasn't doing anything to get in trouble, or, you know what I'm saying, or committing any crimes or anything like that. So what better way to get him in the custody of a shiesty cop than to stage an accident where the police have to show up and, oh, now I gotta run your name and check you and different things like that. Oh, you're an immigrant. Oh, you don't have a driver's license. Oh, so now they got something to cite you for, to charge you for. You understand what I'm saying? So this is how this situation was set up. Other people knew that as well, okay? But it was crazy. It's like if you and your homies, okay, are riding in a vehicle, okay, and y'all committing a crime while y'all riding that vehicle, okay, everybody in that vehicle is going to be in trouble if y'all get pulled over. You understand what I'm saying? Are going to be cited, okay, if not taken to jail, okay? I guarantee you. If this was a group of five or three black guys riding together, every last one of their ass, he would have called for backup, and every last one of their asses would have been arrested. You understand what I'm saying? But the other brothers was allowed to leave and everything else, which lets me know that there are other persons, okay, close to Felipe, who know exactly what was going on, because the man was already being targeted, okay. There's also an aspect to a satanic cult, and this sits right above the satanic powers that be. These persons are sellouts, okay? They are they sold their soul to the devil, and they sold out to the satanic powers that be, which are wealthy persons in power, who runs, rule, and controls everything, okay? Of these persons who are involved, who are sellouts, and they partake in the shit that they do for their their temporary comforts, their the little insignificant materialism that they give them, okay. So we start off with pathway here. They were traveling down a specific road, a specific pathway. I feel like they traveled down this road like probably every day going to work, okay. They had people had been watching him. People knew this. People had seen this, okay. So they knew what route he was going to be traveling, that he was going to be taking with this journey card here sitting on their spine on you, okay. They were on their way to go to work with occupation here to make some money, like they did every single day. They were on their way to work to go and make some money here, okay. And that early in the morning, everybody is commuting. People are going to work. People are trying to get to school. Like, you know what I'm saying? All kinds of stuff. So most time, most people are in a rush unless they're out a little early and they still on a mission, got something to do, got somewhere to go, got somewhere to be that early in the morning. They were no different. They were on their way to work. Okay. So what better way to set up an ambush? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So to clarify, somebody can't stop watching you. We got main female here. Okay, I'm telling you, they were using other people within the Mexican community, watching Felipe and reporting back to persons here. Okay, also this main female talks about the woman who was driving that other vehicle who staged that accident. Okay, she sat in anticipation, waiting for Felipe and his brothers to drive a specific way. The traffickers also sat in anticipation, okay, expectation, waiting for certain things to pop off. Everybody was in their respected places, in their respected roles, okay, like crisis actors just playing out their role here, okay. So to clarify, satanic powers that be, those of them who are in the satanic powers that be, they paid persons to set up this scenario, this situation here, okay. To clarify, cruel and unusual punishment, we have despair here, okay? So Felipe and his brothers were in despair here, okay? Because an accident was caused. This could jeopardize their job. This could jeopardize their life. This could jeopardize, them being in the U.S. They might get deported or something like that. He was really in despair, okay, about this, okay? And this is some cruel and unusual punishment here, okay? So they possibly could have endured some other things leading up to this in reference to law enforcement. So we have official person here. This would be that police officer here sitting here on the high priestess here, okay? This person holds secret knowledge, secret information. He knows he's in the occult. He's in a secret society, and he's linked up with these wealthy men in power that run, rule, and control these satanic powers that be, and he partakes in government cruel and unusual punishments, okay, as well as systematic abuse, okay, and police brutality, especially against people of color, Mexicans, and all other people of color, any people of color. They do this. Spirit is saying they're false persons, okay? They're fake, they're phony, they're fraudulent, they're untrue, they're wearing a mask, they are not who they appear to be. They're liars, cheaters, deceivers, manipulators, and con artists here. This is actually in between. This false person sits in between this main female as well as this official person. They're both fake. And guess who's next on pay attention to the signs and the symbolisms all around you? None other than Mr. Wealthy Man. Now look how this angles. Official person, main female, wealthy man, and smack that in the middle of them is false person. They're all false. They're all wearing a mask. They are all not who they appear to be. Okay? So Felipe, being a Hispanic man who's an immigrant, he was worried about being in prison, okay? And that's exactly what took place. That's exactly what happened, okay? But he had no idea what was to come next, because to clarify, don't lose yourself, think all is well, and become someone's sacrifice here. He was then abducted with this thief card here, okay? To clarify, they're jealous, envious, and intimidated by you. We have the coffin card here, okay? This police officer brutally harmed Felipe, killing him, okay? To clarify, the blues, we have message of concern. So there was a message that went out to the handlers to let him know that the job was done, that he was dead, okay? And you know, what was their next moves and this, that, and the other, or whatever. There were several people who was paid. We got Sutton Wealth that sits here on police officer. He was paid a lot of money to kill Felipe. There was a sudden shift, a sudden change with things here. This is here on Secret Spy. Okay? There was a sudden shift, a sudden change that happened here. Okay? That caused great concern to Felipe. Okay? And other persons involved here sitting on the satanic ritual abuse. Okay? We also have great fortune here. So there was a lot. Also, I want to say that Felipe did put up a fight leading up to his death. Okay? When he finally realized what was happening to him, what was going on. Just imagine a man who don't understand English well, can't speak English well, being attacked and all kinds of things. He put up the best fight he could, okay? But there was great fortune that was paid to persons for his death here, okay? To clarify, we also have poverty here. So, of course, Felipe as well as his brothers lived in poverty, okay? The reason why they worked really hard, okay, so that they could send money back home to their wives, to their children, or what have you, to their families, and so that they could take care of themselves. But they lived in poverty here, okay? As well did this Mexican woman who was essentially a rat and working for the satanic powers that be, was an informant, okay? And was involved with the setup against Felipe. Okay, and there's a whole community of people who knows this happened like this, who knows that this went down like this. Okay, guys. So this is what happened. This is what happened with Felipe. Okay, that wreck was staged. Okay, everybody involved was a part of the setup, and this is the reason why only Felipe was the one who was arrested, who was taken, and now never to have been seen or heard from ever again. This was set up. This was done on purpose, guys. Okay? Hold on just a minute, y'all. Okay, guys, so we have a surprise here, okay? So there was something that shocked or surprised Felipe and his brothers as they were driving down the street, down this pathway on their way to work, okay? Of course, this accident was created, okay? It was set up, it was created, it happened, okay, while they were traveling, which caused Felipe to instantly be in despair here over the situation. They were trying to get to work. They needed the money. Now this accident has happened. This woman is hysterically, angry and has called the police. They're illegal immigrants. So this caused them to be in sorrow over the situation here, okay? We have journey here, okay? So we know that that they were traveling with all of this happening, and this woman was the other person in her car here. Spirit is saying, remember I told you she was sitting in expectation, waiting on this person to come along. Spirit is saying, because this woman is false, she's fake, she's phony, she's fraudulent, she's untrue, she's a sellout, she's working for the enemy, okay? And getting paid to do so. Look, with unexpected income, we got service here. Service, like I told you, talks about somebody who's doing work for someone, working for someone, doing a job for someone here, okay? Once again, this caused Felipe to be in very much despair here, with melancholy here, feeling sadness, feeling depression, anxiety, worried, scared, okay? Why? Because of the enemy here, this official person, okay? Who's working in secret with someone who knows secret information, secret knowledge about what is going on, this setup that is going down and what is happening here, okay? To clarify false person and systematic abuse, we got foe here. This is somebody who's an enemy, somebody who's an op, who's your opponent here, who's working against you, a false person. To clarify wealthy man, we have Lord here, somebody in power, authority, influence, somebody who's a master, a ruler, someone who holds organization or structure within something here, okay? Felipe was sighing over the situation from the moment that he was arrested, okay, and put in the police car the way he was here, okay? And before he knew it, he knew that he was about to be a sacrifice, because he realized when the officer left there with him, that with the thief car being here, with merchant clarifying it, that he was being trafficked. He was getting ready to be trafficked, okay? And that he was more than likely going to die here, okay? Felipe instantly knew that this was going on, okay? And other individuals involved, they sat back and waited to get the word that this was done, of what had happened. Even Felipe waited, Felipe was really brutalized. He was brutalized a lot by these pleasure seekers here. Pleasure seekers sit here on sudden wealth. There were several people involved, okay, doing this for their own amusement, their own enjoyment, their own benefit, their own liking, their own ill will, who did this for the purposes of money, okay? It works against Felipe, okay, to set him up, which sits here on police officer in psyop here, okay? Several different individuals involved here, okay? Like I said, he was abducted. He was imprisoned, which have him in concern. He was severely hurt with the whole cart here. He was brutalized. He was beat very badly here. This was done to him for the purpose, and that's why we had the fighter card here, okay? He put up a fight the best way he could, okay? But he was severely injured. He was severely hurt, and he was also used as a sex slave for a period of time. That there was some type of he was brutalized, man. He was severely brutalized. Spirit, you want to clarify community for us, please? Clarify community. Everybody in the community was gossiping, was talking with this conversation about what went on, what was happening, what was going on. There's a lot of people, okay, talking about this psyop that happened with this car wreck here, okay? A lot of people know that it was staged, that it was a setup, okay, of what happened to Felipe. Spirit, clarify fiery anger. Are there any other messages, Spirit? So he definitely, we have misfortune here. Okay. So somebody was mad as hell. Somebody was outraged. Okay. But Spirit say this was an inside job. Everything was set up. Okay. It was all set up for the purposes, of money. The root to all evil. Inside job for money. Okay? So that's what happened with Felipe, y'all. Okay? He too, this was a whole ambush. There were several people. There was even more people who knew about this situation with Felipe even than Terrance Williams here, okay? But of course they used the same old good old boy cop here, okay? Who loves going after easy targets, abusing them, and of course trafficking them to the next port would be this wealthy man here who's running this operation here. Which this I specifically picked up with Felipe. I feel like the cop, the officer Steven, Calkin, he was directly involved with his murder. I almost feel like Terrance Williams wasn't murdered until he was taken to that other place. But I don't know, I feel a more hands on approach directly with the officer brutalizing Felipe. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that he didn't do things to also brutalize Terrance Williams, okay, because he was involved in both situations, but of course, okay. But I specifically know that Terrance was killed. Terrance had to be was trafficked to where he was trafficked to, because after everything that was done to him, the sole purpose for this happening to him because they wanted his organs. I don't feel like they took Felipe organs, but they wanted him dead. He was a sacrifice as well, just like Terrance Williams was. They may have taken his organs because we still got the trafficker card that came out. But see, the organ harvesters, traffickers, as well as human traffickers came out with Terrance Williams here, okay? That could be the same thing that's going on with, that went on with Felipe too. Okay, they could have took his organs as well. Okay, both of these men were in their 20s. Okay, so they should have been like relatively like healthy and different things. And that this is who this same officer, okay, this is whoever this wealthy man is that he is in communication with all the time, like they in the same secret society, brotherhood or something, but he is in communication with this person like all the time, okay, and go on these missions and fulfill these missions at the orders of whoever this wealthy man is, okay. Okay, guys. So let's get into the further clarifiers real quick. Okay, guys. So we have the energy of Felipe Santos here. Okay. He came out in air energy, okay, which would be Aquarius, Libra, Gemini energy here, okay. He felt very burdened, okay, felt a lot of hardships. There was definitely a problem on that day, okay, especially with this whole spectacle going on, this staged event that happened. He just felt burdened, hardships, stress, okay, over the situation here, okay, when all he was trying to do was get to work and make some money here, okay. This really caused him to be in sorrow. That woman that was waiting for him in traffic, that was part of the setup, she's the Queen of Wands, the Sagittarius, Aries, or Leo here. She caused that wreck on purpose, and then she sent some type of message, news, information, communication. She was a messenger for these other individuals involved, okay. Remember I told you she set an expectation waiting, and then she sent out some type of message to the police officer and to the wealthy man that is also involved. So with the Five of Wands, I told you there was a lot of conflict, a lot of competition, jealousy, envy, spitefulness, hatredness, that one held towards Felipe here, okay. And it's these persons who were working and got paid, who was working for the satanic powers that be and even got paid. They were the ones who were jealous of him, okay. Felipe had experienced cruel and unusual punishment from the government officials. Has had him in despair here. He was very saddened and depressed by this. This caused him extreme feelings and overwhelming emotions with how he was being treated here, okay. But with the high priestess here, this was secret information, secret knowledge. It was known that he was being treated like this. He was being attacked and targeted like this, okay, with this official person and this enemy here, okay. This official person, this police officer, this enemy here, he's a liar, a cheater, deceiver, manipulator, con artist, even a thief, okay. Sneaking and creeping around trying to get away with the sinister ass shit that he do, because he's chained to this devil here. He's got addictive patterns of behavior. This man, I also feel like, has sex addictions of some kind as well, but he definitely has some underlying addictions. He's chained to the devil. He was made some type of satanic oath or taken some type of he's under some type of satanic oath or under some type of contract or something like that. But he's definitely the enemy. He's definitely an opponent here. Okay. He's a false person, spirit is saying. Okay. But he's a devil worshiper nonetheless. Okay. And he belongs to some type of satanic cult, witch coven, or secret society. Okay, we have the Ten of Swords. This talks about ultimate betrayal here. Okay, this talks about one being betrayed unto death here, and that's exactly what happened here. Okay, this is what this wealthy man ordered to happen to Felipe here. Okay, which caused this major tower to collapse. Something happened suddenly. Something happened tragically. Something happened all of a sudden out the blue. This could be problems of any kind: murder, death, harm, destruction, illness, injuries, lies, deceptions, disruptions, chaos, all those things. Okay, which this tower came crashing down, causing Felipe to sigh over this situation because he was being detained. He was being arrested, imprisoned in some type of way, held hostage in some type of way. And then he was trafficked with the chariot card here. Okay. Yeah, once again, the high priestess, secret knowledge, secret information, hidden knowledge, occultic knowledge. Okay. After Felipe finally realized what's going on, he intuitively knew that he was going to die. He wasn't going to make it out of this situation alone. That's when alive. That's when this fight, this struggle, okay, broke out, okay, between them. Remember, the fighter card came out here, okay? There was a lot of confusion, a lot of there was a fight, a big disagreement and a fight that broke out here, okay? Which brought his life to an end here. But the world card here, this talks about endings and completions here, okay? And these pleasure seekers set back. All these persons involved in this setup, set back, waiting to get the cut of this sudden wealth here when this happened, when the death of Felipe happened here, okay? We have the Nine of Wands here. This talks about mental conflict, okay? This talks about stress, anxiety, sleepless nights, okay? This talks about being haunted and taunted, okay? Which had Felipe in constant fear because of this anxiety. I feel like this wasn't the first time that he was like bullied or picked on or teased or taunted or haunted like this, you know. I feel like with satanic ritual abuse here and government cruel and unusual punishment, he was obviously already a target, okay? Maybe under some type of government experimentations or something here, but there was a lot of money that was paid to hurt this man in various different ways, like a lot of money, okay? Spirit, are there any other messages? Yeah, a lot of money here was paid. To brutalize him as well. Like I keep seeing this sexual aspect of what was done to him. Like he was brutalized in more ways than one here, okay? But all this conversation went around about how he was in prison, how he was locked up, how he was stuck, restricted, unable to move. All this conversation went around the community about this, okay? All stemming from this car accident that took place out there. Spirit, are there any other messages? Yeah, somebody manifested for this to happen here. Somebody definitely manipulated something for this inside job to happen, okay? This caused a lot of heartache and a heartbreak to Felipe, okay? Santos, and anybody who cares about him, okay, or has worried about him since, okay? He endured a lot because of this. But yeah, with this judgment, this decision that was made here brought him a lot of heartache and pain here, okay? But it brought money unto others, okay? But it was an inside job. It was a setup from the jump. It was an absolute setup from the jump. Okay, guys. Well, that concludes what I have thus far for these gentlemen. Okay. So I'm going to briefly go through this. As for Officer Stephen Calkin, he's working with a wealthy man who is in power, okay, for payments, for compensation, for setting up easy targets, okay, those of which endure police brutality, torture, possible rape and sodomy, and traffic for organ harvesting after being murdered. All persons involved, all persons involved are paid a lot of money for their participation. The organs are sold on a black market, okay, or through other channels that they do that type of thing. The bodies are the remainder of the bodies are either disposed of, if not sent to a slaughterhouse to be ground down to some other meat form, or they are cannibalized, okay, which is why remains have not been found of these men. In the case of Terrance Williams, the cop and a wealthy man are involved, or the main persons directly involved in what happened to Terrance Williams here. Okay. I also noted that Terrance could have had others who was close to him who knew of the setup, okay, and was paid off, okay. When it comes to Felipe Santos' case, there's a cop, a wealthy man, a female spy, as well as the woman from the wreck, whom are all involved in the setup and whom was paid. There are also other persons, who are close to Felipe Santos, okay, who could have been associates, friends, confidants, persons close to him, okay, who may have gone along with the setup and went along with setting him up in order to get citizenship, or in order to get payment or compensation for coming up off of a blood sacrifice. Because there's also something else that they do with these illegal immigrants, okay. They convince them to sell out to the satanic powers that be. They have them to come off a sacrifice, okay, for the satanic powers that be, okay. And these are a lot of these different things are things that they have to do and endure in an effort to get their citizenship and things. And people have no idea like what's really going on with these type of things. Okay. My spirit guides do tell me that persons were jealous of Felipe. He was a target and being gang stalked, okay. And a woman was also paid. There was a specific woman who was paid to spy on Felipe, okay, as well as his brothers, okay. He was being watched also by the government prior to the incident. Felipe was set up and sold out for money, okay. Women at the scene of the wreck was an op, okay, who was paid and was waiting in anticipation to cross the wreck on purpose. This is how you know that he was a targeted individual and he was being gang stalked, okay? He was being set up for, particularly for the purpose that they knew that he was a legal immigrant, okay, y'all? I matter of factly know that Terrance Williams was killed for the purposes and trafficked for the purposes of his organs, okay? There are several other things that was done to him to torture him prior to his death. I matter of factly know that Felipe himself was set up, but there's a lot of different people who were involved in this. Okay, I almost feel like Felipe was killed for different reasons, but I do feel like I specifically picked up the organ thingy with Terrance Williams. Okay, I do feel like that somebody may have also got Felipe Santos' organs too, because these were both young men. Okay, they should have had pretty healthy bodies. One was 27, the other one was 24. Okay, so they definitely were used for that purpose, guys. Okay. I am going to do a spirit reading for both gentlemen. where I will ask my spirit guides direct questions, and either I get answers, I'll get answers directly from my spirit guides, okay? And if during that time, either Terrance Williams or Felipe Santos want to come through and answer anything, or alert me of anything in particular to ask so that they can answer, then I will do so to get you all those messages as well, guys, okay? Okay, guys, so I'm gonna get this cleaned up, and we're gonna go on to the spirit reading. Once again, I do, like I said with Terrance Williams, I do like to offer my condolences to the family, the friends, the loved ones of Felipe Santos, for those of them who actually loved and cared about him. But as I said with Terrance Williams, because of the high profile persons involved in these setups, okay, it is unlikely that the remains of these men's bodies will ever be found, okay, to give you all, you know, and like I said before, to give you all that closure that you would like, because just matter of factly, things very gruesome happen to them, okay, as well as people who have been paid off, and you know, and those who are participants and involved and paid off, they're sworn into secrecy, okay? Them speaking out about anything would automatically trigger them to be set up and killed themselves, okay? Because those of them who run, rule, and control these type of operations from a higher level would then be exposed for these things, guys, okay? But do not take these things as random coincidence or occurrences, okay? There's nothing random about the things that goes on in this world here, okay? And most things, if not all things, really and truly, that happens, that it goes on in this world, is run, ruled, and controlled by the powers that be. No ifs, ands, buts about it. This is something that has been going on for a very, very long time here, okay? And because these people's power and their wealth and their privilege, they get away with a lot. They sit in behind the scenes, behind closed doors, okay? They bully people into submission. They manipulate and they control people, and they get persons to sell out to them for temporary comforts and small incentives and different things, and get those persons to go out and do their dirty work for them, okay, while they seemingly sit back behind the scenes and play pretend like their hands are clean, okay? But if people really would learn to think for themselves and connect the dots, you will see just how these things connect, okay? And once you start connecting things, okay, you will begin to see that the only way for this to go down, certain things to go down the way they do, would be for powerful people, wealthy people to be behind it. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what a lot of people need to start understanding, instead of lying to yourself, tricking your own mind, tricking your own brain to believe that, oh, these tragic occurrences are just randomly happening. That's just so far from the truth. Okay, guys? Okay, guys, so before we start with the spirit reading, I'm just going to light some sage real quick, guys, and cleanse the energy. And we're going to get this reading, the spirit reading, started real quick, okay? And see if there was anything that maybe I missed. Just answer, get a few clarifiers, answer some other questions, just to see if there's something else tied to what I've already told you, okay? Okay, guys. So I'm gonna let that sit there and do its thing while we finish up doing some work here, okay? Real quick though, before I start this, I just want to check my other decks and see if there's anything else that we need to know. Spirit, okay, so we have police involvement here. There is something being hidden. We have here trying to recruit you against your will, okay? So they could have been trying to force them into doing something here, okay? Wanting them to be willing slaves unto them. Here we have that contract you signed here. So somebody is under some type of blood contract here. It could be an air sign, Aquarius, Libra, Gemini persons here. There was some type of blackmail going on, okay? Human trafficking was definitely involved here, okay? We got hackers, trackers, and whackers. Okay, so I'm telling you, these they were specifically targeted. Okay, they were being hacked, they were being tracked. Okay, and ultimately they were whacked because their lives were taken away from them. Okay, we have trauma forced upon you. They're dangerous. Spirit, what else is going on with the situation here? We also have here hypocrites, okay? Someone who is a fire energy is involved, Aquarius, Libra, Gemini. Or excuse me, oh my goodness. We already had the air energy, Aquarius, Libra, Gemini. With fire energy is going to be Sagittarius, Aries, or Leo, okay? Spirit, what other messages do I need to share? This police officer has some type of freaky fetish, okay? Spirit is saying that he's a cross-dresser. He's into cross-dressing, okay? He has a freaky fetish. There was definitely some type of destruction that was caused as it relates to this situation. We have prostitution ring here, okay? Liars, cheaters, thieves. Then I tell you higher ups is involved. The higher ups are pulling the strings of all the puppets, okay? Conflicts and battles to the end. Spirit is saying don't think it's a game when it's really not. We have here the sellouts are all around you. Neighbors, co-workers, family, lovers, friends, strangers, partners, okay? Spirits say evil is as evil does, okay? Spirit is saying that this is domestic terrorism. Somebody definitely plays with demons here. Both of these men, they could have family secrets here. This says family secrets. Shh, okay? Wolves and snakes in sheep's clothing here. Spirit, clarify. Please give us clear and accurate messages. Oh, we have here the whole family is in on it. Okay? Somebody was, we have brother betrayal here. One of these persons was betrayed by their brother, okay? We've got them folks ain't right. Murder was definitely involved. Spirit, what else is going on here? This was betrayal here. These men were sacrificed. They were set up. They were targeted, set up, and they were sacrificed. Period, point blank. Spirit, what other messages? would you like the collective to know as it relates to, we have satanic cults here, okay? So there are individuals who are part of some type of satanic cult. There's also individuals who's involved in religious cults. So for those of them involved who try to play pretend like they righteous, you know, they upstanding righteous pillars of the community, they save, sanctify, and deliver. They're in religious cults, and which is in turn a satanic cult. They worship Lucifer as their gods here, okay? Both of these men could have been humanly experimented on or under some type of either mind control or human experimentation being done on them, okay? There was definitely harm that was brought to them, okay? Jealousy was definitely a big factor. There are some, I'm telling you, when it comes to higher ups, this goes all the way up to the shapeshifters, okay? Involved. Spirit, any other messages? Somebody is cutthroat and ruthless, or somebody's throat was cut. Spirit, are there any other messages? We have devil worshippers here. Revenge. And these messages could be either for Terrance Williams or Felipe Santos. So we have 6 Satanists. Something happened very swift, very fast, okay? Powerful business moguls are involved. Once again, we have family secrets, okay? Satanic sellouts. Burdens caused by others. Mental conflict. Fake phony Christians. Somebody is a witch doctor. Spirit, what else is going on? What other messages? Somebody had, these men could have had spells cast upon them by somebody here. There are crooked government officials involved. I'm telling you, there's more than just that one cop that y'all think is linked to this, okay? This is way bigger than what you think. Way bigger. Trust me when I tell you. So we have rest in peace here, okay? So these men are dead here, which we already know because the murder card came out. We have breaking news here. So, you know, both of their situations made breaking news years upon years ago. Okay, this is why they were killed. Betrayal for the love of money. Just period, okay? Spirits say murder was the case on both of them. The plot thickens. These men were offered up for sacrifices for money, okay? They got people close to them who are sellouts, okay? Who knew about the setup and on the setup, went along with the setup. We got narc need help. This is a narcissist need help, okay? This cop is a big bad bully here, okay? There were backroom deals that were made here. These men sustained abuse before they died. Spirits say mental abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, and sexual abuse, okay? We have soulless beings here. Agendas. Oh, Lord. Death. Blood sacrifice. Spirit, are there any other messages? Yeah, there's a cover-up that's going on with these, the disappearance of these men. And that's the reason why y'all will not, those of you who actually love these men, cared about these men, okay, y'all won't get the answers and the closure that you're looking for, okay, because it's being covered up by the satanic powers that be. Spirit, are there any other messages? Any other messages that I need to share with the collective? Okay, guys, let me check my other deck, and then we're going to get into the spirit reading real quick. Okay, spirit. What other messages do I need to share with the collective as it relates to Terrance Williams or Felipe Santos? Are there any other messages, Spirit? I might not have any messages in this reading for this one. Somebody's doing voodoo. Somebody's into doing voodoo. We did have witch doctor that came out. A lot of deception around the situation and what took place, what actually happened. Spirit, are there any other messages? Any other messages? What did I tell y'all? I just seen it. It tried to show its face and it tried to go back in, but I just seen it. I just seen it. Okay, so we have here ultimate betrayal for wealth, power, status, and privilege here. We also have racism is real. I told you that cop had to be racist against people of color. There was definitely some type of domestic violence that took place. Spirit, are there any other messages that I need to share with the collective? Any other messages that I need to share? So we have here, can't trust anybody. I feel like both men couldn't trust anybody. Like nobody. They needed to have caution and beware, but they just didn't see the horror that was coming. Both men were in fear of, if you notice in both situations, no matter what led up to the situation or what happened thereafter, the situation, both men were in fear of going to jail because of their situations, if you notice. Yet neither one of them actually made it to the jailhouse, okay? See, something, you know, the same thing happened with Sandra Bland, okay? But Sandra Bland was actually taken to the police station. She should have never even been arrested, okay? She was pulled over for a traffic violation or whatever, whether it was running a stop sign, a light, or whatever. She should have been given a simple ticket, okay? She had no warrant. She had nothing on her record. There was no reason to detain her or arrest her or anything, yet she was taken to the jail and put in a holding cell, okay? And they didn't have anything to hold her on. They should have let that woman go, okay? But Sandra Bland was beat and she was raped and she was tortured right in the jail, in a holding cell. And they told you she killed herself, and y'all fell for it. What person kills themselves who don't have any warrants, who don't have any reason to be held in jail when there's no charges on you? Even if they had charged her with something, she would have got out the same day and just been given a court date. There was no reason for her to wig out and kill herself, but they said she killed herself in a fucking holding cell. Who do you know have killed themselves in a holding cell? Yeah. This has happened so many times before, guys, okay? Just so happened, you know, when Sandra Bland got pulled over by the cop, he actually, you know, he was intimidated by her because she was a strong-willed, strong-mind African American woman with a backbone. She was on her way to like a job interview or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Hadn't done anything wrong. Even if she had been speeding a little bit, didn't yield properly, okay, or ran a stop sign or a light or something. This is a simple traffic violation. You don't get arrested for those things, okay? Especially when you have given the officer your driver's license, your insurance, your registration, or whatever, and there's nothing there because you're 1052. Like, you know what I'm saying? But these situations been going on for a long time, guys. Okay, Spirit, are there any other messages? Any other messages I need to share with the collective? Okay, guys, I think that's all the messages Spirit wants to come out, okay? I'm not getting any more messages out of that deck. And I don't think there's any more in this deck that Spirit wants to come out. Okay. These persons involved are definitely into black magic, or some type of black magic was being done. Lies, a lot of lies and deception has been going on or around pertaining to this, predominantly to the, for people close to this case have been telling a lot of lies, okay? Okay, but both of these men were targeted and taken out because they could no longer control them in some type of way. But when these type of sacrifices happen, guys, all y'all have to do is pay attention, okay? When these things happen, okay, and the case is seemingly just left as a cold case. It's never, you know, any substantial amount of evidence for anybody to be apprehended in a crime and different things like that. You can best believe that the satanic powers that be are involved and behind it, okay? And there is a cover up that is going on, and people have been paid off, okay? And when certain persons have been sacrificed, people closest to them know that they were targets and they were sacrificed. And because you got so many people out here who are sellouts, willing slaves, they scared of them satanic powers that be. They scared of them wealthy men and women in power. Okay? So they'll set up and sabotage their own damn people for a payday. Okay? These men were stalked. We got stalker here. These men were stalked. They were watched. Okay? They were trapped. Spirit, are there any other messages? Human trafficking. Yet again. Spirit say low down and dirty shame. Okay. But I most definitely know that there are a lot of people in power here. I even if you watch that show, Never Seen Again, there's a lot of signs and symbolisms even in that show, okay? A lot of things that's going on even in that show that I was clearly able to see, okay? But okay guys, real quick because I'm tired, let's get into the spirit reading. Spirit, please give us clear and accurate messages. We are going to start with Terrance Williams. Please clear the energy, Spirit. Spirit, was Terrance Williams murdered? That's a yes. Clear the energy, please, Spirit. Spirit, was Terrance William murdered for the purposes of his organs, taking his organs? Was Terrance Williams' organs removed from his body? That is a yes. Okay. Please clear the energy, Spirit. Spirit, did Officer Stephen Calkin directly kill Terrance Williams? Did Stephen Calkin directly kill Terrance Williams? That's a no. Officer Stephen Calkin did not kill. He wasn't the one who directly killed Terrance Williams, but he did traffic him elsewhere, and let's just be sure of that. Okay, so we got a clear no on he was not the one who killed Terrance. Spirit, did Officer Stephen Calkin traffic Terrance elsewhere? Did Officer Stephen Calkin traffic Terrance Williams to another location? That's a yes. So he trafficked him. He falsely imprisoned him, arrested him, and he trafficked him to another location. That's to that wealthy man that I was telling you about. Did Officer Stephen Calkins take Terrance to the wealthy man? Yes. Spirit, was Officer Stephen Calkin paid to traffic Terrance Calkins? Or Terrance Williams? Excuse me, guys. I'm sorry. Sorry, Spirit. Was Officer Stephen Calkins paid? Yes. Please clear the energy, Spirit. Spirit, did Officer Stephen Calkins beat Terrance before he transported him? Did he beat him up in any way? Yes. Did Officer Stephen Calkins rape Terrance Williams? Yes. My God. Please clear the energy, Spirit. Hold on, guys. I want to clear my energy real quick. Spirit, were there other persons close to Terrance Williams who knew that he was going to be set up? Were there other persons who were close to Terrance who knew that he was going to be set up? That's a yes. Were the other people who were close to Terrance paid to go along with the setup? That is a yes. Mama. Okay. Let's see what else, guys. Spirit, did Terrance Williams die on the same day that he went missing? Did Terrance Williams die on the same day that he went missing? Yes. So he was tortured, he was beat, he was raped, he was killed, and his organs were removed from his body on the same day that he went missing. Did all of this happen on January the 12th Yes. Oh, goodness, guys. Okay, let's see, what else do we need to know? Spirit, is the police department, is Napa, Florida Police Department covering up what really happened to Terrance? Yes. Was the wealthy man that Officer Stephen Calkin was working for a politician in Florida? Yes. Mm-mm. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Let's see what else, guys. Spirit, on the day that Terrance Williams was pulled over, was he already being watched? On the day that Terrance was pulled over, was he already being watched? Yes. Was Officer Stephen Calkin watching Terrance from a distance before he pulled him over? Yes. Was Officer Stephen Calkin given the orders to pull Terrance over? Yes. Mm-mm-mm. My, my, my. Mm-mm-mm. Spirit, is Officer Stephen Calkin racist? Is Officer Stephen Calkin racist? Yes. Spirit, was Officer Stephen Calkin's comment about Terrance Williams being clean because he raped him? Was Officer Stephen Calkin's comment in his interviews about Terrance Williams being surprisingly clean is because he raped him? Yes. Mm-mm. Okay. That was very creepy too. If you go and watch that the show Never Seen Again, there's a point in the show where the internal affairs were interviewing uh, the officer Stephen Calkin, okay, and he had this little duper delight smile on his face, and he was like, he kept saying he was surprisingly, he had this smirk on his face, and he was like, he was clean, he was surprisingly clean, and I'm like, what in the fuck would that have to do with anything? Like, how would you be that close to him? Like, you sniffing his body, like what's going on? How do you know he's clean? Like that or whatever, but and I instantly felt something. I'm like, he raped him. I just knew it. Okay. Spirit, is Officer Stephen Calkins freaky fetish the fact that he is secretly gay? Yes. Has Officer Stephen Calkin raped boys or men before? Yes. That is a big yes. Spirit, are there any other persons whom Officer Stephen Calkin arrested who went missing? Yes. That is a big yes, y'all. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That's the reason why they never charged him with a crime, because it was being covered up. The only reason why they fired him is to make other people feel like, oh, we're trying, we're trying to do something. or whatever. My God. My God. Mm, mm, mm. Spirit, was Terrance Williams betrayed by any of his loved ones? Was Terrance Williams betrayed by any of his loved ones? That's a yes. I do apologize, but I have to ask all questions, okay? And loved ones could be anybody, okay? This could be an associate, a coworker, friend, family. It literally could be anybody. So that's not to direct that to any particular specific persons, but I know matter of factly there were people close to him who knows that he was a target, knows about the setup, and who were paid off to go along to stay quiet about what they knew and to go along with the setup. And that's just that on that, okay? Like, I'm non-biased when I do these readings. Okay, guys. I think that's all the questions that I'm gonna ask for Terrance Williams. If I think of something else, then I will ask. Okay. I'm kind of tired. These are readings. These type of readings take a long time. It's like 8 something in the morning. Y'all, I kid y'all not. I have not been asleep since yesterday. Around this time is when I woke up yesterday, around 9. So I haven't, just imagined, from about 9ish, 10ish yesterday, all the way to today. I've been up. Okay. You would swear I do drugs or something, but I don't even get high on nothing. I don't even drink, really. I occasionally have a drink, maybe wine or something like that every once in a while. I got a bottle of wine in there right now that I'm like literally saving for to have a drink of wine on Thanksgiving. But like, yeah, I'm totally a square. I literally have a boring life, but like, yeah. Okay, guys. So, um, let's go on to Felipe Santos. Spirit, was Felipe Santos beat by Officer Stephen Calkin? Was Felipe Santos beat by Officer Stephen Calkin? Yes. Did Officer Stephen Calkin rape Felipe Santos? Yes. Clear the energy, please, Spirit. Spirit, did Officer Felipe, or excuse me, did Officer Stephen Santos directly kill Felipe Santos? Did Officer Stephen Calkin directly kill? That's a no. He didn't kill. He was not the one who killed these men. They were not killed till they were trafficked and transported to their next destination. But this officer, he has a freaky fetish. He's like in the closet gay, and he do beat them and he rapes them. He like half their his way with them, and then he traffics them to their next point of destination, and that's where they kill them, take their organs and all that. Oh shoot, my God. So for the persons who wanted to know specifically if this officer killed them, he did not. He did beat them severely, and he did brutally rape them. Okay. And then he trafficked them to this wealthy man, okay, and these trafficker who, and the wealthy man is the one who runs the operation of the trafficking and other things, okay. um Spirit, were there people close to Felipe Santos who were in on the setup? Were there persons close to Felipe Santos who were in on the setup? Yes. Spirit, on the day that Felipe was arrested by Officer Stephen Calkin, was the wreck staged? Was the wreck staged on the day that Felipe was arrested? Yes. It was a purposeful wreck? Yes. Mm, mm, mm. Lord. Mm, mm, mm. Spirit, was Felipe Santos organs taken after he was murdered? Was Felipe Santos organs taken out of his body after he was murdered? Yes. Were both Terrance Williams and Felipe Santos organs sold on the black market? Hold on, guys. Clear the energy, please, Spirit. Spirit, was, let me ask one at a time, okay? Because I don't know if y'all seen it, but it was trying to give me an answer, and then the pendulum, it like dropped. It dipped down. So let me ask individually. Spirit, did was Terrance Williams' organs sold on the black market? Yes. Thank you, Spirit. Clear the energy. Spirit, was Felipe Santos' organs sold on the black market? Was Felipe Santos' organs sold on the black market? No. Was Felipe's organs given to a celebrity or someone wealthy in power? Yes. Wow. So Terrance Williams' organs were sold on the black market, but Felipe Santos' organs was given to someone wealthy in power, like a celebrity. Yes. And I just said celebrity. It literally could have went to anybody who is wealthy. So, Terrance Williams' organs were sold on the black market. So organs are not cheap. Okay, so they're still sold. So my point in being is, even when they're sold on the black market, they are still being purchased at very high prices. Okay, so you're still talking about wealthy people buying organs. Okay, but when it comes to very wealthy people, people who are millionaires, billionaires, trillionaires, if they need a new organ, they don't sit on organ waiting lists, waiting for organs. Okay, they look for someone who has a specific blood type that they need, with healthy organs, preferably younger person. Okay, and different things like that, to and take their organs from them. Okay, so Spirit says that Terrance organs was sold on the black market, but Felipe's organs, it went to a specific person who is wealthy, whether that be a politician, whether that be a celebrity, whether that be, somebody who's wealthy. Okay, but it went directly to that person. Okay. Um. Mm, 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 Spirit, was there a Mexican woman that was being used as an informant or a spy, giving information to authorities on Felipe Santos? Yes. Were people close to Felipe Santos involved in what happened to him? Yes. Did they set him up in order to get citizenship or money? Yes. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Okay, guys, let's see. What else? Mm-mm. And see, this is why I told you it was suspect. You understand me? Because like when it comes to ICE, okay, what they're not gonna do is have a group of, an incident that has happened, and a group of individuals who are all illegal immigrants in the U.S., okay, and only take one. You understand what I'm saying? And like one of the brothers at the time when this happened, Felipe was 24 years old. His other one of his brothers was like only 18. Um, and I'm not sure how old the other brother was. Okay, um, but like it didn't make sense. You understand what I'm saying? Um, I found that to be like very interesting. That went like that. That he solely only took Felipe or whatever, but it was set up like that. That was because it was set up like that. Um, Okay, so Spirit already answered saying that the woman who staged the wreck, that was done on purpose. She was an op, she was paid. As well as that Mexican chick, whoever, there was a Mexican chick who is an op, man, in their community, okay, in their neighborhood that they lived in at the time, who is an informant, okay. And this is how I feel like this is how she got her citizenship. She sold out, and this is how she got her citizenship. And any others, you know what I'm saying? Because Mexicans stick together. You understand what I'm saying? They really do. They're well knit and they really stick together. They usually move in communities where others like them are, and different things like that or whatever. So amongst each others, they know which one of them got the citizenships and don't or whatever. But you know, you got those of them amongst their kind who are right on their own people, set their own people up, just like with African American people or any other race of people or whatever. And especially if it means that they can get money out of it, or they can get their citizenship out of selling out and working against somebody else of their own kind as well. So, yeah. Mm, mm, mm. Lord, Lord, Lord. Spirit, what happened to Terrance Williams and Felipe Santos bodies, their remains after their organs were taken out? Were their bodies disposed of? Were these missing men's bodies disposed of? No, their bodies wasn't disposed of, guys. Were their bodies consumed? Were their bodies consumed? You'll see how it changed up. Yes, they were consumed. Their bodies were not disposed of. That means that they were cannibalized, y'all. They were eaten. Shit. Mm, mm, mm. Mm, mm, mm. Mm. Okay, y'all. I think I'm going to wrap this reading up. This is a bit much, honey, and I'm tired. I do hope that this is giving you the truth and the clarity that you were seeking pertaining to the situation, okay? Um, if you all would be so kind to please like, share, and subscribe, it would be greatly, greatly appreciated. For those of you who would like to contact me, you can do so at Tiffany Latish Diamond, or sorry, tiff.diamond.36@gmail.com. You can also find me on Facebook at Tiffany Latish Diamond Ziegler. And for those of you who would like to follow me on Instagram, you can do so through excuse me, y'all, I'm tired. Y'all can follow me on Instagram at Shine Bright Like a Diamond 36, okay, with an underscore between each word. For any persons who would like to donate to the channel, it is greatly, greatly appreciated. I do thank you in advance. You can do so through Cash App, which is $ Tiff Diamond 36, or through PayPal, which is paypal.me/@36diamond. As always, guys, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, but most of all, take care of your babies, honey. Remember, this is a wicked, wicked world that we live in. There's wickedness in high places, and there is evil that is lurking around each and every corner, even in the neighborhood near you. So, y'all watch your surroundings. Watch the company you keep, watch the surroundings and the company in which your children are in as well. And considering the fact that you never know when someone may betray you, backstab you, try to hurt you, or harm you, keep you some protection on you. Y'all stay awake, stay aware, stay vigilant, and stay prepared because if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready, baby. Until the next time, peace, love, and light. Namaste. I am that I am, created in the image of God.